Hello and welcome. This is Freedom Master Vedant Goswami. Today we are going to see another game of Mikhail Tal. And this game was a particularly brutal demonstration of attacking powers that Tal had. So let us see and see what we can learn from this. So E4 and F6. The game starts with the Alekhine defense. White plays E5, ND5, and D4, D6. Black also starts challenging the center. Tal plays c4, pushing the knight away from the center. Knight goes to b6, and he goes for the four pawn attack, which is one of the most aggressive ways to play against the Alekhine's defense. Black captures f into e5, bishop f5, and nc3. Black plays e6, opening the way for development of the bishop and ultimate castling. White also continues development with nf3, bishop e4. And now white has many ways of development. The bishop comes to e2 or bishop d3, or even the bishop on c1 can be developed. So white chose bishop d3, and I always find it very interesting to try to decipher the thought process behind the move made by a great player. So it is always very interesting to first think what would you have played in this particular position, and then actually go and see the move that the grandmaster, or in this case Mikhail Tal, played, and then see what is the difference. Try to figure out what is the difference, what do they want, what are they seeing in the game which we do not see. So bishop d3, I found it very interesting because if you see, this bishop is kind of the only defender of the black king side. So let us say if black chooses to exchange it and then castles, then white has very clear opportunities of attack with knight g5 and a direct attack on h7. So that will give white some really clear cut plan of attacking in the king side. So bishop d3 is a very interesting move. I really found it interesting because it is trying to destroy or exchange the only defender that black has on the king side, because if you see, all the other pieces are on the queen side, right? So if that happens, a bishop into d3 and queen d3 and castles, we have a very simple plan of attack. So very interesting. So after bishop g4, white did castling, and again it is very interesting. So white is basically saying, okay, you take my d4 pawn, so which white black can do by this bishop f3, queen f3, and queen d4. But unfortunately, usually what happens when you are in the opening and you have not developed and you go pawn grabbing, usually the results are not very interesting. So white can simply continue with bishop e3 if black takes queen d3. White can play queen f7 and kind of win the game immediately by having a devious attack and also winning a lot of material. So that is not at all interesting. And even if, let us say, black does play nc6, after, let us say, bishop d3. So let us go back to the same variation. So, okay. So bishop g4, castles, and bishop f3, queen f3, and queen d4, bishop e3, and queen d7. Okay. Still, white can have a very clear initiative by playing rook a to d1. Always very good to bring all your pieces into the game. And again, the bishop is threatening a discovery. So let us say castles and bishop h7, and we can pick up the queen. That will be simply winning. And also I saw very interesting tactics here. So for example, let us say black plays a move like a6. There's a very interesting move, bishop g6, putting an extra attack on f7 while also discovering an attack on the queen on d7. So very interesting tactics, which usually appears when you are better in development. So if you see, white has all his pieces into the game, while black is much more behind in development, still has to develop the knight, has to castle, a lot of things to happen there. So let us go back. So in this case, black decided not to take the pawn, not to take up the offer of the pawn sacrifice by Mikhail Tal, and correctly so, because it would not have ended very well. Play c5. A very reasonable move. It is attacking the center, trying to break it down. But if you see, it is very important to understand that every move has an effect on the position. Now, when you play c5, the range of bishop, where it was, controlling d6 also, is restricted. And immediately, Tal saw a unique opportunity. He played ne4, threatening the very powerful ND6. And after that, the game is kind of over. So black chose CD4. Now, also bear in mind that this is a game which was played in a simultaneous exhibition in England in 1973. So the opponent is probably not very strong. But what we get to learn in this, how to exploit mistakes, which is the one of the basic things we learn in chess. What are mistakes and how to exploit them? Now, Tal already has his eyes set on the d6 square, because that will give white almost an invincible advantage, a clear-cut attack on the opponent's king. And if I do it right now, the bishop can capture it back. So white plays a very subtle c5. So it is attacking the knight and also closing the range of the bishop from where it could defend. And so white is going through with the initiative very powerfully with forceful moves. Black played knight d7 and knight d6. Now already white has achieved one of the clear aims of this game, plonking the knight on d6. Now black is in a pathetic position. He cannot castle. All the pieces are in a disarray. And it is very interesting to see how creatively and powerfully Tal finishes the game. Now, in this position, if you see, the rook is also free to attack, and if rook were to be able to come to f7, it would be a checkmate. Seeing that tactical possibility, Tal takes knight into d4, a very powerful move, hitting the hanging bishop on g4, and with the simple idea that if the bishop takes on d1, rook f7 is a checkmate. So, amazing spot of the tactics, which is expected of a great tactician like Mikhail Tal. So knight e4. Black chose to continue with knight e5, probably saw the threat. And now again we have a very simple deflection exercise. Now the knight is kind of overloaded. It is protecting both f7 and g4. And continuing with the tempo, Tal plays queen into g4. And black gave up to the ghost after knight into g4 and rook f7, checkmate. So amazing, powerful game by Mikhail Tal shows the powerful importance of the basics, how quick development can help a lot in attack, and how it is important to seize the small opportunities that happen in the game. So I hope you enjoyed the game, and it will help you improve your attacking skills. We'll do a quick rerun of the game. And then f3, bishop d4, bishop d3, very interesting. And the jump to d6, blocking the line, blocking the knight on d6, beautiful knight d4, and final flourish. Okay. So, yeah, after knight g4, rook f7, it is checkmate. So, I hope you found it interesting like I did. Thanks very much for watching. Subscribe for regular lessons like this. Thank you so much.